This video is dedicated to the Rust 4 nerds. We have an A&K PKM, so you'd think it's actually not a PKM. Once the owner of this gun puts his Zenico handguard on it, this is going to be the PKZ or the PKPM or the 6P41M, whatever, insert designation here. This is Russia's like 10,000th attempt at trying to modernize the PKM. Russia modernizing the PKM is just them going, "Niet, light machine gun fine. Let's just change the furniture on it." Bare bones, it's just a PKM. And what's really cool about this build request was that the owner of this gun knew exactly what he wanted. We talked about all the internal stuff and how we were gonna, make it an AEG and make it reliable. And we'll talk about that. But first I want to talk about the specific requirements that he had. He said that he found a file online for a Z stock, and yes, it's a Z stock for reasons you might guess. It's a whole political thing. And then a shorter barrel. So this is not the standard length PKM barrel. And when he was pitching this to me, I was like, do you want to chop the original barrel? Do you want to look at maybe other existing short 3D printed barrels on the market? And he was like, no, it's got to be fluted. It's got to be the one in these two pictures that we found of this designation of PKM. So somebody made a file online of this outer barrel. The geometry was too complex for me to manipulate the CAD in Fusion because my laptop is very old. So I made do. I printed it as is, and we essentially have a two-piece outer barrel with the key in the middle. So, most 3D printers can only print such a large volume. We had to print it up to here, and then we had to finish the print from here on out to the muzzle. And then there's a key that goes in between them that fixes their orientation and basically gives you a constraint for when you go and epoxy them together. So it is epoxied together with a plastic bond JB weld. If you look it up, it's a really good adhesive to use with PET G, and we did use carbon fiber PET G for this print just because aesthetically it looks better. I didn't want to go PLA because I don't want it melting and warping in the sun. I feel like this is a temporary thing until we find a better long-term solution for the barrel. The design incorporated 3D printed muzzle threads, and I personally despise that. I don't like muzzle threads to be plastic. Even if the barrel's plastic, we at least need metal threads. So what I ended up doing was after printing it, I cut off the muzzle threads. I bored out a larger hole at the end of the muzzle. And then on my lathe, from scratch, made a 14 millimeter negative thread adapter. So the end sticking out is 14 negative, and then the end that is thread melted into the barrel itself is some like arbitrary positive thread. It just had to be large and have coarse threads for me. And then I don't know which brand of PKM this outer barrel was intended for because it's not specified on the Colts 3D model. But the front sight post, the inner diameter was too large for the outer diameter of the barrel where it's supposed to sit on there. So I ended up machining a very specific cylinder that fits very snug on this outer barrel and fits very snug inside of this front sight post. Now, this is only held in with a grub screw right now. The owner of the gun said he didn't really want to keep the front sight, so he can undo this grub screw and pull it off. I'm going to reach out to him again and see if he wants to keep it, because if he does, then we can talk about, making the holes for the pins so we can properly fasten it. We're really going tip to butt here. So part of making this plastic outer barrel not flex was a bit of a challenge. So if you're going to 3D print an outer barrel, the best way to do it is to build the outer barrel or design the outer barrel around a prefabricated internal tube, whether if it's aluminum or carbon fiber, but you want a solid tube running through the length of the barrel so that it can stay rigid, give you, alignment, because otherwise if you just have it plastic all the way through, and then you have a break in the middle of the barrel like we have here, it was a real pain in the ass to get that aligned. Now I had some tricks up my sleeve. I basically took an inner barrel I had lying around. Using that and aluminum tape, I was able to basically use that as the fixture inside of the outer barrel when I was doing the JB welding, the epoxying, so that I made sure that this was straight and aligned when it was all cured. Even then, without having a rigid internal tube, this plastic barrel is still going to be able to flex. It's a long, skinny thing. Most plastics are going to have some flex to them. PLA actually is very rigid, but it just kind of melts in your car in July, so I didn't want to use that. So in order to make this thing very solid, it came down to taking this whole gas tube assembly and getting that guy nice and solid. There is zero wobble in this entire gas tube assembly. That was done through a series of carefully placed aluminum and steel tape, other bits of hardware, little MacGyver mods, just to make sure that this guy is solid. I even machined a custom piece that bridges between this gas tube that's fixed to the gun and then the gas block that's fixed on the barrel. And it's a very snug, precise fit in both the gas block and the end of the gas tube, and that's really locking it together. A lot of that barrel play can be attributed to the play that you have between your gas block and the end of your gas tube. Our base of the barrel is basically from the factory barrel, same as, you know, the gas tube, front sight, and all that. This was kind of a loosey-goosey fit inside of the base, so, you know, shimming that with some aluminum tape and careful use of hardware and epoxies that won't degrade and damage the plastic, and then not using the original hardware to mount the base to the rest of the outer barrel. Fortunately, I had thread forming screws that were the correct size. You don't want to use those fine pitched machine screws in plastic. You're just going to strip it out. You want coarse threaded thread forming screws that'll really bite into the plastic and keep everything retained properly. Of course, now you just have base gun problems because OEM always does everything wrong when everything's made in China. So, you know, this outer barrel base fit very loosey-goosey in the receiver, and we did use some aluminum tape to help shim that so it's less wobbly. But there was also this small rotational play, and that was dealt with by basically drilling a hole and tapping threads on this anti-rotation lug, and I'll have pictures popping up to show you. And that's to basically orient this outer barrel correctly and also lock it into place so that it doesn't wobble. It adds an extra step to field stripping, but if everything's not wobbly and falling apart, you shouldn't have to field strip it that much. Moving back, we have bull gear, PKM, hop-up chamber. We have a PDI 6.05 375 millimeter inner barrel that's R-hopped. I believe we're using an EMG Atlas bucking. Bucking doesn't really matter. There's no best bucking. The bucking you use is the one that fits in your specific setup because of tolerances. And then the gearbox shell is the Bull Gear CNC PKM gearbox shell. Now, this thing, great design. The execution on the one that I got, pretty lackluster. I know Bull Gear for having much more precise CNC work than what I got out of this shell. It's still usable, everything's still good, but it took a whole lot of extra work to deal with the imprecision of the machining. Otherwise, everything's good. 18:1 Solink full helical gears. This is the revised gear set that was sent to me for free from Brill Armory. Not from Solink, but from Brill. They fixed the whole bevel gear issue that I always complain about, and it's great. We have a Solink V5 motor. We went with the V5 so that we had fine control over the RPM, because there's a specific rate of fire that we're trying to achieve out of this. And it's kind of difficult to do that when you have a basic inline MOSFET and not an advanced ETU. So the Solink V5 gives us that flexibility. And then also the Solink V5 just fucks. It's a really good motor. Everything else internally is pretty run-of-the-mill. We have 9mm FLT bushings, FPS soft air, Brill collaboration cylinder head, FPS soft air cylinder, FPS soft air piston head, EPES air nozzle, retro arms tappet plate. We did the whole 9 yards to it like we normally do, but the piston, we really had to kind of settle with the piston, and we're using an OEM LCT full metal rack piston because, honest to God, that's the one that fit and functioned the best in this particular setup. Not my go-to piston, but it's the one we used. I made sure to really epoxy that rack down very well. And, you know, now we're just praying God forbid something happens to the piston, we're going to have to look for a better alternative, but this is the best one we got for now. And I've tried Jaeger, I've tried Angel Customs, Kratos, I've tried Rocket, I tried FPS Soft Air, I tried a Real Deal piston, I tried a bunch of stuff. Like a bunch of like really good renowned go-tos. The issue lies with, again, the execution of the machining on this gearbox shell. A bunch of things were really off spec. And I hate to say it, but it is what happened. And I have a more in-depth video talking about just the gearbox shell in a different video. This thing has a Garter SP130 in it, and this is compliant for Milsom West medium machine gun rules. So it's currently shooting 372 FPS with 0.32 gram BBs, and it's shooting like 1200 RPM. The end user requested 25 RPS, which is more than 1200 RPM, but I'm honestly pretty happy with where it's at right now, and I really don't want to push it, mainly because we're settling with that LCT piston, and I really just want this thing to last for him. And then we have a Jeftron MOSFET 2, just a basic inline MOSFET that's wired up here. And it is coated with conformal coating, and then it's sealed in heat shrink with like the hot glue stuff that basically seals everything inside the heat shrink. So all you really need, basic inline MOSFET. We have the power cable coming out here from the ejection port, so we could store the battery in the box mag. The box mag has the most up-to-date version of the Bull Gear insert for the PKM, the automatic feed model, and that's very simple. You just turn this guy on, and it just winds up until it's under tension, and then it turns itself off. And it does that through mechanical things. So there's no convoluted rat's nest of wires. I don't like those things. I don't like to deal with those things. I think this is the best box mag mechanism. It's Bull Gear's automatic model. Moving backwards, we have the Z-Stock. So this was made by FSB Alpha. I printed it myself. He made the files available online. And this uses a combination of the original hardware from the OEM stock, as well as some additional hardware that you'd get. Right now, there's some big old holes on the side, and that's actually meant for a Magpul insert that lets you use normal QD sling points, because you don't want to QD into plastic. So Magpul makes these metal inserts that let you run QD slings on this. And it might be a good option, it might not be, I don't know. Those sling points might be something that we get before this build gets like stamped and shipped out. And then we have this adjustable cheek riser too, which is really great attention to detail. And this also was printed in carbon fiber filled PET G, and it's just really solid. We did thick walls, we did a fine layer height, and it looks good. I mean, between both of these major 3D printed parts, you can hardly tell that they're 3D printed by looking at them. You have to really look at them. Okay, you guys just want to see me shoot the thing, so we're going to go shoot the thing. Got a lot of side wind right now.